Welcome. Please take a seat. Thank you for showing up early. I appreciate that. Punctuality is a trait that we look for in our employees here at the World Wide Wicket company. Did you have any difficulty finding the place? You know, that is what we've heard before. In fact, we actually redid our signage recently to make the business more visible because Google Maps kept on getting people lost just like that. So I'm glad that you found the place now, and thank you again for showing up early. Did you want any water or coffee before we get started? All right. Well, now before we proceed, do you have any concerns with this interview being recorded for posterity and future hiring decisions? You do need to sign here. To verify your consent to being recorded purely for internal and businesses purposes only. Don't worry, you're not going to see this on YouTube or something. Nothing in this interview can be used externally for promotional purposes without your permission, and that would require another signature for that to occur. So if you just don't mind signing that. Yeah, you can hand that to me at the end, or to the the individual at the front desk. Yeah. I'll be typing down notes and information as well, but lately in our process of going paperless and for more comprehensive data purposes, we have been recording our interviews as well. So before going forward, do you mind also verbally consenting to having this interview recorded? Thank you. Now, we have an extensive interview process here at the World Wide Wicket company, and normally consists of 2 or 3 interviews here, and the interview process today, it shouldn't take more than 30 minutes. So do you have any concerns with that time frame? That's cutting it a little close, but I'll make sure to keep it to just below 30 minutes at the most, so you can make sure to get there. It doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room in regards to traffic, so I hope you don't have any problems like you did finding our location. This is an open interview, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask any and all questions relating to the position. I am going to start off with a little bit of background information about the company. Here at the World Wide Wicket company, we pride ourselves as being the industry-leading brand of wickets, from manufacturing, distribution, promotion, operations management, and even including research and development. There is no other company that has such a comprehensive process of providing the best wickets, and we are the only company that have full vertical and horizontal businesses practices to capitalize upon our reputation and brand when it comes to corporate efficacy and the environmental impact of wicket production. As I'm sure you are aware, we are trying to hire and fill this mid-level assistant associate production agent manager position. Now, we will be going over primarily behavioral and personality questions in this interview. This is due to our diverse and specific nature of our company culture. We truly want to find someone with the compatible business aptitude and mindful approach that can really help endorse and promote the spirit of our corporate structure that we want to have be reciprocated and replicated among the other employees. There are no right or wrong answers, don't worry. Okay, there are not a lot of wrong answers. There are some like, okay, that's a deal breaker, that's a wrong answer. But for most of them, don't think of it as right or wrong. Think of it more as a sliding scale of, we want to know you. We want to get to know you and the many attributes and characteristics that you have that make up who you are. That way we can make sure that if we present an offer letter and bring you into our environment, that this would be a place where you can thrive and grow within the structure of the company. So I also have a few questions regarding your resume, and I'm actually excited to dig into that because especially with the diverse skill set that you represent and have listed here, I haven't seen many candidates, even for higher tier positions, with such a wide variety and, horizontal landscape of experiences that truly run the many different areas and the gambit of options as far as career choices. It's like you went through a full catalog of college courses and like, I'm going to take a little bit of everything. Yeah, I'm excited to sort of dig into that. Now, don't be intimidated or scared. I just want to get to know you and get into your work history and find out more about you and the different abilities and skills that you can bring to the company, since you have such a wide variety of different perspectives and aspects that you could bring to help in this position. So don't feel like this is an interrogation. It's not an interrogation. This is a chance for me to uncover the mystery of who you are, because as well crafted as a resume can be, it never really tells you the person that's in front of you. And that's what I am really excited to get into today. So now at the end of this interview, if you don't mind filling out a survey and leaving a comment after this interview, we are in the process of updating our interview procedures and processes, and anything that you think that could be helpful would be appreciated. So please be respectful though. This is a professional business. Leaving a comment or completing the survey will have no impact on you obtaining the position. Is entirely to help us when doing future interviews for this or other positions in the future. So because what we're trying to do is we're trying to find the right person for the right job, and we are very particular in the individual that we're looking for. So let's get started. What is your reason for leaving your previous position? So how did you know that it was the right time to transition into an entirely new industry and make a career path change? So it's a combination of a gut feeling while looking at the economy around you, as well as the value and skills you could learn to help you in different fields. I get that. It does look like you have a wide variety of work experiences in a rather condensed, short amount of time. I did notice that your resume consists of what looks to be 8 different industries. You've worked in the oil industry, education, manufacturing, post office, a warehouse distribution company. You've done lots of food service, welding, and website design. Is that accurate? And was your reason for leaving all of them similarly that feeling that it was the right time to try something new and expand your skill set? All right. And just make sure, have you been fired from any of these positions? All right. And what interested you about this position? So, what about the World Wide Wicket company makes you want to work here? So you mentioned that working here excites you, and that it would be your passion to work here. That's interesting. Most people wouldn't describe the mid-level assistant, associate, production agent, manager position as their passion. What are you excited and passionate about in working here? It seems like you're trying to steal my words before I even ask the question. Now, would you consider yourself a risk taker? Why? All right. You mentioned sales. When were you in sales? Okay, so that was before the education work when you were a substitute teacher. Okay, so the sales came before that, but you didn't list that on your resume because it was really short time, sort of freelance. Okay. And if you had to risk money or time, which would you risk? Why? Okay, not to sound like a third grader, but why? Interesting. Okay. And what would you consider your greatest strengths? Being a good multitasker and a fast learner are definitely skills and attributes that would be very beneficial to have in this company, and I can see that in your resume definitely being clear as you went from very different industries. What would you consider your greatest weaknesses? Are you concerned that would affect you here as well? Can you tell me how you are working to become more persistent and resilient when dealing with conflict, confrontation, or the unpleasant elements of work? Well, all fields and jobs have their downsides. No, seriously, no job is perfect. There are some people who say, oh, this is a perfect job, or this is a great job, or make so much money for so little work, or this is a job that matters so much to them, and you hear the phrase, I would do this for free. But no job is perfect, and it's the reason that work is called work. Even if the job is something that you love to do, that you're passionate about, and that makes a difference in people's lives, they have their problems or stresses. And this is the reality of every position and profession. There is no perfect job for everyone. Even saying that there's a perfect job for anyone is a stretch. You have different people with different perspectives, but there are jobs that have benefits and enjoyment that far outweigh any cost, that you never perceive the negatives until sometimes you take a step back or think of doing anything else because you're enjoying it so much and the benefits are fantastic. And I don't mean benefits as in like the benefit package, like your Medicare or medical coverage. What I'm talking about is that you feel this reward, this intrinsic reward from doing the work. But that doesn't mean that the hard work elements of the job disappear or aren't there. If you're someone who wants to complain, you will find something to complain about it. Sometimes it is the elements of commitment, responsibility, and that you don't have the complete control and freedom to stay home if you want to, or to not go in if you don't feel like it that day. Because we all have those days when you feel off and you're like, I don't feel like working. It happens. Everyone has that to varying degrees. And if you're one of those people who never feels that, well, that's great. But with that being said, how do you cope with those difficult times in a job, even if it's a great job, easy, great pay, like this one? How do you persevere when the going gets tough? Can you give me an example of when you continue to push through to the finish line when you are about to stop? It doesn't have to be business related. Okay. 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 That is. I don't think I could type that into the record. I mean, that is of a rather personal nature. Even paraphrasing those circumstances, I would not want that to be written down into anyone's employee file. So maybe, just maybe don't mention that to anyone, especially in an interview. Well, it isn't exactly professional, and depending on the person you're talking to, could be considered harassment of a workplace in regards to crude humor of sorts. Well, just as a helpful piece of interview advice for future interviews, I would recommend that you refrain from any stories or examples that even mention bodily functions as an example or an answer to any questions asked. Just refrain from mentioning bodily functions or fluids probably would be best. Yes, I am aware that we all do it, but that isn't exactly the professional attitude and spirit of camaraderie and humor that we're looking for in the employee here at World Wide Wicket Company. Now, to get back to that answer that I'm not typing down, you mentioned working at a dental clinic office. I didn't see that listed on your resume. Okay. And when were you working there? In between when you were a substitute teacher and when you worked in the plastics manufacturing. You were also working as an EMT dispatcher at the time? While you were at the dental clinic office. I see. So you were a substitute teacher during the day and did graveyard shift dispatching for the EMT at night. Did you quit both jobs at the same time when you took the job to go to the dental clinic? I see. You didn't quit substituting, you just stopped accepting jobs until your hours got cut and you weren't full-time at the... Okay, so you started accepting substituting jobs back when your hours got cut and you weren't full-time when working at the restaurant for food service. Okay. And what? When your hours were reduced when you were working at the call center? Call center. What call center? No, that wasn't on your resume either. When did you work at a call center? So that was before you were working as a substitute teacher and the EMT dispatcher. Okay. Anything else I should know that isn't listed on your resume? That you've worked a few other jobs that are not listed on the resume. Well, that's fine. Everyone has a past. If you don't mind me asking, how many jobs have you worked? You've had how many jobs? 32? Now, it is unprofessional for me to ask this, but seeing as we've gone a little off topic, I'm going to ask how old you are. In fact, I'm not supposed to. In fact, according to federal law, there's no good reason to ask your age, and that would be illegal since it is a protected class. But I don't think you're over 40. In fact, you appear rather young. And please, I hope you take that as a compliment. I'm going to be very clear that I'm not going to write this down, that your age will not have any impact upon the decision to hire you for this position. And without that being said, how old are you? So you've worked more jobs than years you have been alive. Would you mind walking me through the timeline of your employment history from start to finish? That's not listed on your resume. Just all the way through, straight beginning to end, jobs, dates, when one thing ended to another. You mind just walking me through that? Yeah, no. We should have time. And that was with your cousin. Okay. Did you get a license or a certificate? Because normally you have to get a license and file that with the state. You did? Okay. So, just to recap this quickly, you had oil field work customer service in a call center, sales work in a call center. You were a substitute teacher in the education department, dispatching for medical services and EMT, dental receptionist, plastics manufacturing, real estate agent, insurance sales agent, post office work. You worked in a warehouse distribution company. You worked in food service for various fast food, coffee shops, bars, and restaurants. Then went into welding as a contractor as well as a long-term employee. Then you did welding for the oil fields. Then you went into website design. Then you did locksmith work. No, sorry, you worked for a locksmith company, okay? Then from there, you worked for a cybersecurity company, but not in the cybersecurity division. Then you started your own janitorial custodian business. Then you started your own guarding services and were running both those at the same time. And then you started working in cosmetology without a license. Then you were a caregiver for the elderly while you were dog walking and house sitting. And then you branched off into remote work in social media marketing. And now you're here applying for the mid-level assistant associate production agent manager position. Is that correct? All right. So how do you stay organized with multiple projects going on at the same time, especially when in your work history working multiple jobs at the same time? All right, so how do you handle feedback or constructive criticism? Can you tell me a specific time when you made a mistake, had to receive feedback, and how you were able to implement and make a correction? All right, and why should we hire you? All right, last question for the day. What is your 5-year plan? I think that's all the questions I had for today. Now, did you have any questions for me? We are running a little low on time, but we have plenty of time if you have any questions, okay? Yes, there is a 90-day probationary time frame in regards to this position before any benefits would take place. Yes, we do have an unlimited PTO policy. No, it doesn't mean that you can take any or all days off. Attendance is still critical to this position, and you do need approval for your days off from a manager. And some specific holidays must be worked for this position. But most days you will be approved for your paid time off if you request it correctly according to the policy clearly listed in the employee handbook, normally after those 90-day probationary period. Last chance before I wrap this up, do you have any other questions for me? All right. Well, thank you so much for interviewing with us today. You should hear back from us in a couple of days. As I mentioned, we have many candidates that are interviewing for this position. You will either receive an email from me or a phone call. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send me an email at asmhrinterviewrp@gmail.com. I know that feeling that as soon as the interview is over and you get home and you think, oh no, I should have asked him about such and such. If you have any questions, don't worry about that. Please email me. I will reply as soon as I can. You can also please leave a comment, subscribe, share this video, fill out that survey that I talked about on your way out, and you can hit that bell notification to make sure that you don't miss any messages from me about the status of this interview. So again, check your inbox and have your phone ready. You will get an email or a phone call in a couple of days. Thank you again, and have a great week. Bye.